On, Petey. Pressure's on after that deck tech. Selling your devoted devastation deck to our loyal viewers. Better be good now. Cole Cunningham's on your right. He's the one that had the deck list problem, so he's down a game as the young man. Playing Mono Green Tron against Peter Ingram's a little bit of a brewski here in Devoted Devastation is what we've decided for a deck name here. And so now we went through all this trouble to be able to bring you this match. Cole's on the play. And we'll see if he's able to come back after the game loss, Patrick.
And Ingram's deck very capable of turn 3 kills against decks without creature removal. And that is Tron in a nutshell here. So very important for, I guess Cunningham automatically gets the play here in game number 2 because of the game loss.
Yeah, the carnage could begin early. Cole's going to sack his star. Well, he's going to have Tron on turn 3. He's got a mine, a power plant. He's going to dig up a tower. So the young man is he's good to roll on turn 3. For him, I hope he's got a Karn or a Walking Ballista or something of the sort as we go back over to Ingram, who's got an Arbor Elf and a basic forest. And he's drawn a copy of Post-Mortem Lunge, a card you do not see very much of. Peter's deck does have quite a few moving parts to it, but it is still a 2-card combo at the end of the day. The combination of Vizier of Remedies and Devoted Druid will give you infinite green mana, and you should be able to win from there in most cases.
Requires a third piece, but there are a lot of third pieces.
Yes. There is Utopia Sprawl. Untap there. So that's going to generate a little bit of mana here for Ingram. And he'll play another Arbor Elf. Another Utopia Sprawl. Utopia Sprawls are naming, at least the first one's naming green. He might pick a different color with the second one. I think I saw him choose white, and he did choose white, and he'll pass the turn back with only 1 land. So be a really bad time for Ingram if Cole has Karn this turn. I will say that. Well...
You'll love to see it.
Yeah. well, there's that. The carnage has begun. Pete's forest is gone.
Play-draw oriented matchup.
It can certainly feel that way sometimes. Ingram does have a copy of Finale of Devastation in hand. It's going to be a little difficult to cast. Yeah. Also has that copy of Postmortem Lunge. I don't know how he works himself through this.
Yeah, because he can't attack the Karn down to 0 this turn, so next turn is going to be a lot like the last turn was, which seemed like a lot. I mean, Ingram there is just hoping that the payoff there is Worm Coil Engine, and then hopefully you have the tools to go off.
Arbor Elves, plural, is going to knock Karn down to 1. Ingram will play a Windswept Heath and pass the turn back. Let's go back over to Cole Cunningham, who's got Tron online and a very powerful Planeswalker on the battlefield. He will start by plussing the Planeswalker up to 5. Ingram will have to exile a card from his hand. I'm curious which one he's going to choose. Now, what's also weird here, too, is that Ingram didn't play a land on the second turn. I'm not entirely sure why.
He played a land the previous turn, and looks like he has another one in hand.
Yeah, and so he's just going to concede the game now. So Ingram knows that he's beat. Cole Cunningham's going to tie things up, so he's overcome that game loss, at least for right now, as it's all tied up between Mono Green Tron and Devoted Devastation, this new deck here from Peter Ingram, where we're looking for it to show out. Maybe he's got some sideboard cards here that could be helpful. 3 Rest in Peace, 3 Path to Exile, 2 Negates, along with some one-ofs here for his Karn the Great Creator. He's got a Walking Ballista, a Tormod's Crypt, a Pithing Needle, an Ensnaring Bridge, a Chalice of the Void, and then an Engineered Explosives, pardon me, and of course he's got the Mycosynth Lattice.
I like the copies of Negate. We'll bring those in.
You want to counter a spell, huh?
Various spells. Karn's a big one.
Yeah.
He's got other spells too. And I wouldn't bring in any of the bullets. The paths, I don't think Worm Coil Engine or World Breaker or any of that kind of stuff is threatening enough for Ingram to worry about. Rest in peace, not for this matchup. So there you go.
Let's go to Cole Cunningham. He's got 3 Thought-Knot Seers, 3 Nature's Claims, 2 Thragtusk, Here Come the Singletons, and Trinisphere Pithing Needle, Oblivion Stone, Mycosynth Lattice, Grafticus Cage and Snaring Bridge, and Defense Grid. So he's got some Karns of his own. What do we like here for this matchup?
Like the Thought-Knot Seers a lot. Depends how much he really knows what's going on with Ingram's deck. I mean, I think probably short on things to do with Nature's Claim would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Really just leaves the Thought-Knot Seers, but that's not bad.
Fair enough. These players, both playing Karn decks, are going to shuffle up and get ready here for game number 3. And then we've got should be a nice little time-shifted match for you between Kane Reinhardt and one Jerry Thompson in just a bit. But we do want to turn our attention to Season 2 of the SCG Tour. Season 1's in the books. Got to cap it off, of course, with this invitational here that somebody's going to win and win $20,000, a lot of SCG Tour points. And then a couple weeks off, partner, before we go to Pittsburgh for our first Open for you and I in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I mean, has the SCG Tour been to Pittsburgh before?
I don't know if the SCG Tour has ever been to Pittsburgh, but I know it's the first time we've ever been to Pittsburgh.
Well, after that, we go to some of our tired and true cities of the SCG Tour. Worcester, Philadelphia, and Columbus in July. August, we'll have Richmond, that's team constructed, and Dallas, which will be modern. Syracuse is the lone event in September. That's our Legacy Open for Season 2. Then in October, we have Philadelphia and Indianapolis. Those formats will be announced shortly. And then the Season 2 Regional Championships, that'll be modern, October 19th. And you get over to go.starcgames.com/regionals for more information as we get a little bit closer to that event. Then in October, the last Open in Atlanta of the year. And then November, December, one show apiece, and their big ones, SCGCon Winter, featuring the Star City Games Invitational. That's November 14th through the 17th. And then to cap off the year, Players Championship back here in Roanoke, December 13th through the 15th.
All right, folks, we got some playmats we do want to talk to you about very quickly. For our standard Open and Classic players, it is Captain's Quarters, illustrated by Titus Lunter. For our modern Open and Classic players, it is Aurora's Light, illustrated by the incredibly talented John Avon. And for our Legacy Open and Classic players, it is Ripped from Reality, illustrated by Mark Teeton. Free exclusive playmats with entry into any Open and Classic, Infinite Challenge, or Seal Spectacular package. Go to starcitygames.com/schedule. Mark your calendars. We hope to see you at each and every single one of these events. As now Pete is on a mulligan to 6. We tried to build all this hype for you, Pete Ingram. We showed the deck tech before the match.
You got spotted a game.
You got given a game. And now this.
Well, the fortunate thing in this matchup is whoever loses is really likely to lose with a bunch of cards in their hand. I don't think mulligans matter a whole lot as long as you have a hand that does its thing. That's true for both sides.
That's probably true. Not a lot of interaction here for either
It's like, it's not one of those, we played 8 turns and the fact that I was just down a card the whole way really mattered. It's not that kind of thing.
Ingram going to be looking at 6 cards here in a moment. Cole Cunningham has kept 7, so you better believe Tron's going to be here on turn 3. I will say, for these Tron players that have incorporated Karn, the Great Creator, that does mean their sideboard is a lot more diversified, but that also means they don't really have room for stuff like Spatial Contortion anymore.
No, it's a lot of slots. You're kind of hoping that the Karn gets you a haymaker against those decks. You have an Ensnaring Bridge, and maybe that's good enough to trump it. But I've also always thought that people's sideboards with Tron felt like they were trying to do too many things or bring in too many cards that were low impact. I don't mind spending a lot of bandwidth on Karn and some cards you have to go get with Karn, because I think the deck, the deck is all big payoffs, your mana, and stuff that finds it. There's not really that much room to sideboard. You have some copies of Relic in your main deck, and maybe those can come out in some matchups. And maybe you have one threat card that's bad in a lot of matchups. But once you talk about the first 3 or 4 cards in your deck that are bad, that you side out, you really don't have a lot of wiggle room to sideboard. So I'd rather keep it light. Or I don't know where my position is yet on Karn, whether or not that's a thing to build around. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind eating up 5 sideboard slots. That seems to me a lesser cost than just, do you want to play with this 4-mana card in the first place?
Sure. Ingram on a mulligan to 5 now. Is this hand better? Well, it's got some Utopia Sprawls and a Finale of Devastation, so it seems as though it might be better enough.
I mean, the right draw step, and this could be put together on turn 3. So that's not a bad 5-card hand, even though it looks a little light on action.
There is Forest plus Utopia Sprawl. We'll head back over to Cole. He'll name white. There's an Urza's Mine. And this is a chromatic sphere. Back over to Ingram. He'll sacrifice a Misty Rainforest. Breeding Pool is the weapon of choice. This is another Utopia Sprawl. White mana floating. And he'll pass the turn back. So access to a healthy amount of mana next turn. Cole will sacrifice that sphere and draw a card. Now he'll stir it up. So top 5 cards here for the young man, who's off to a 4-0 start in this invitational. Looks like it's going to be an Urza's Power Plant. The rest will go to the bottom. Urza's Power Plant is the land of choice. Now, Cole does have Expedition Map and a Chromatic Sphere in hand. And he's going to go with the Sphere again and pass the turn back over to Ingram. We'll go over to Pete, who again does have Finale Devastation in hand. Windswept Heath is the land. Pass the turn back. No fireworks here yet.
And very bad news for Ingram. You know, the way you would like to have this matchup is to really take advantage of the fact that you have on the play 3 free turns of development, and he doesn't have a whole lot to show for it.
Here's Sylvan Scrying. That's going to get negated here by Ingram.
Good against spells.
Yeah, indeed it is. There's another mine, and there's an Expedition Map. So Tron going to be online. Most likely next turn here for Colt Cunningham. Ingram's going to search up a Temple Garden there with the Windswept Heath. Important to keep in mind, Finale Devastation is a sorcery. Not an instant speed spell. Last card there in Ingram's hand. Court of Calling, Collected Company, obviously instants. Finale not. Ingram going to check his sideboard here for something. Wants to know exactly how he did change his deck here for game number 3. Access to 5 mana this turn.
If you're Ingram, you're kind of assuming you get one more shot at it, because if Cunningham has to break the map to assemble Tron, that leaves him with 5 leftover mana on his main phase, assuming that he gets a tower. And 5 mana is not a threatening amount of mana for Cunningham to do anything with, except for perhaps Walking Ballista.
Well, there's Finale. Search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with a converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X/+X and gain haste until end of turn. So it acts as a tutor and a win condition for the deck. There is the Tower of Power. There's the 5 mana you speak of. And there is Karn, the Great Creator.
Well, that is really bad news for Ingram because he is empty-handed. He's going to get 1 draw step.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine maybe he's not searching up Lattice right now, but if not now, then next turn.
Yep. This powerful Planeswalker from War of the Spark is definitely making its mark in Modern. Stony Silence for your opponents. and a whole bunch more, but most notably it's that sideboard package, Mycosynth Lattice among the cards, and Pithing Needle is actually what's going to be found and played here.
I mean, there's no threat of your Karn getting killed.
Walking Ballista, the name.
Walking Ballista is probably the one draw step that Ingram has too that gives him a shot at doing anything about this Karn.
There's another Devoted Druid. Pass the turn back. Will Ingram over to Cunningham. Could be time to go find the Lattice. Down to 1 goes the Karn.
So for me, this will be the first time I'll see the combo be good.
Well, the combo is good. Cole Cunningham, despite a game loss, able to win this match here over Pete Ingram. Mono Green Tron is still quite good, and it's a disappointing display for Devoted Devastation.